They might as well rename this the Summer of Injuries instead of the Summer of Punk or Summer of Cody, depending on which product you watch. And it's due to the fact that, unfortunately, for both WWE and AEW, they're suffering from a lot of major injuries to a lot of key players. CM Punk, because he did a stage dive after he won, the AEW World Title on the post Dynamite edition, or the post Double or Nothing edition of Dynamite, suffered something torn in his leg, in his ankle, or in his shin, or whatever it is. So he has to be out for a while. Bryan Danielson is out for a bit. We don't know how long. We're assuming it's probably not going to be as long because he's being penciled in to be in the Battle Royal, as well as he's being penciled in to be in the Blood and Guts War Games match at the end of the month. So his is not too bad, but the timing for his injury, minor or not, couldn't be any better either. And there are probably a few other injuries. I mean, Jeff doing, finishing the match basically in a concussional like state, if you will, at Double or Nothing was not a good sign for AEW. So yeah, just not a good time for either company right now. And on top of that, WWE, they have a few injuries, they're dealing with right now when it comes to the stars, but probably not more significant than what happened with Cody. And the timing couldn't be worse for them because to them, their answer to AEW's Summer of Punk was going to be that this would be the summer of Cody, the summer of the American Nightmare. And now they got to hold that off until at least WrestleMania next year, which I guess would be a better solution since it's on a grander stage. However, again, the timing couldn't be worse. It's and look, this is the way I look at it when it comes to these injuries, not just for these two major promotions, but for some of the injuries going on in Impact right now, MLW, PWG, New Japan, AAA. Depending on who's your injured, stars, obviously the timing, like I said, can't be worse. Now, some of the injuries that a lot of these companies with their featured players may not be as significant as a Punk or Rhodes, but still the timing can be worse because even for the short term, you got to alter your plans. You got to alter storylines. I mean, for WWE, for example, they got to change up the whole strategy as far as Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Clash of the Castle is concerned, because SummerSlam and Money in the Bank was supposed to be Cody-centric pay-per-views, and now they can't be. And as far as CM Punk and AEW goes, this was going to be his summer again, and now they're going to hold off on that, and instead give us a first ever fall of Punk, possibly, or holiday season of Punk, possibly later this year because he's injured. It's just the timing couldn't be worse. The timing couldn't be worse, and what I see happening as far as like on the AEW side of stuff or side of things, I see perhaps Tony Khan, if he does value Punk and Danielson as valuable acquisitions to the company and to the roster, I see him letting them, basically. Well, what I'm trying to say, it's early. I do apologize. I also gotta get myself ready for work, but I see him possibly, letting them, tone it down a little bit. In other words, still perform at a high octane level when they're 100%, but kind of tone it down to where, okay, for Punk, no more stage dives because he doesn't know what's going to happen. For Danielson, not be so aggressive. Like, we know he's got a lot of pent up wrestling, stored up inside of him that he wants to let loose, but now he's going to probably have to slow that down so he doesn't, probably, have another near career ending situation. So, there's a lot of factors that will come into play with those two, and probably some others. Jeff will probably be told not to take so many be advised, I should say, not be told, but be advised by his doctor, maybe his family, not to take so many high dives or high risk anymore, just because he's in AEW. So there's a lot of factors, key factors that I think are going to come into play as a result of all these injuries happening on the AEW side. As far as Cody goes and some of the injuries over on the WWE side, that's going to play a factor too. Now, unless Cody is some super freak and can heal rapidly from his surgery he's getting on Thursday and be back sooner than some people expect, then more power to him. But as far as, the estimated timetable, yeah, it does kind of align with the Rumble and leading into Mania, and it makes a lot of sense from a story perspective. But, the thing is with the Cody situation, the viewpoint on that is split down the middle, because some, were inspired by what he did, some enjoyed, respected what he did, some hated it. Some don't want to see it again. And that's their opinion. That's their opinion on how they feel about it. But I think the reason Cody was allowed to do that wasn't just because of his ego or anything. It's because Vince McMahon obviously values what he's invested into by bringing Cody back, as what we saw in AEW and outside of AEW, in places like New Japan, Impact, and in other places. He values that investment. He values that investment very much, to where he knows if he screws it up, so for example, he offends Cody in a sense by, let's say, pulling him from the match, he's going to risk losing that investment, because we don't know what kind of deal, multi-year wise, Cody has, or what stipulations Cody has in his contract with WWE. So I don't think Vince wants to chance it. So he pretty much said, okay, if you feel like you can do it, if you feel like you can pull this match out before you have to take time off, go and do it. Show us what we've invested into. Show us the Cody Rhodes that you were elsewhere before you returned. And that's what happened. Because again, I don't think he wants to rock the boat there, in any way. He wants to make sure that all eyes are on his product and nothing else. And that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. But yeah, the timing can be worse. It could be worse. Now, do I think WWE is going to advise Cody? Do I think Brandy's going to advise Cody? And even Dustin via phone or face-to-face is going to advise Cody not to do this again? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt they're going to advise Cody not to do it again. But, if Cody chooses to do it again, he probably will. We can't, we're not in his shoes. It's his decision if he wants to do it. And again, as far as WWE goes, they invested a lot in this, in bringing him back, as he is. So I don't think, like I said, they want to rock the boat. But yeah, overall though, looking at what's going on with him, looking at what's going on with Punk and Danielson to an extent, and some of the other injuries in WWE that couldn't come at a worse time, as well as in other companies, you might as well dub this the summer of injuries instead of the summer of Punk or the summer of Cody, in my opinion. But what are your thoughts, guys? Comment below, live chat during the premiere. Super thanks will be enabled afterwards, and I'm out.